Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farah Nurlia, and today I would like to present our paper. The title is Equivalence Problems in Machine Translation Output of a Not-Literary Text. So this is a study on Google Translate's English-Indonesian output, and the authors are Dwi Indarti and Farah Nurlia. Definition of machine translation. MT is an AI-driven process for converting text between languages. A machine translation exemplified by Google Translate or GT is viewed as a solution for the demand of translation that cannot be fulfilled by conventional translation methods due to the significant surge in translation needs within the global market. So despite improvements, MT outputs show some errors in acceptability and also in adequacy. Although there has been notable enhancement in the quality of machine translation outputs, certain research studies on machine translations have identified divergent errors resulting from the MT with variations in quality observed across different language base. Therefore, MT outputs should be post-edited by the human translators through the process of PEMT or post-editing machine translation. PEMT is very essential to meet the quality standards for the end users, like for the journal reviewers and also for the public. Therefore, as a contribution to the PEMT research, this paper presents translation equivalence problems found in MT outputs produced by Google Translate of a non-literary text. So non-literary texts are texts that aim to inform, to educate, or to instruct, and they require precision and unambiguous expressions. These texts differ from literary texts because it needs distinct translation techniques. There are three study objectives here. The first one is to identify equivalence problems at word, above word, grammatical, textual, and pragmatic levels. And the second one is to propose post-editing strategies for the GT outputs. And the last one, the third one, is to analyze equivalence issues in the top three nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and also verbs. The research design is qualitative descriptive method in order to explore and to understand equivalence problems in MT outputs. And the data is from English source text called, the title is International Relations Theory, and its Indonesian GT output, a non-literary text emphasizing scientific precision. The data collection first, we downloaded English text and then we used GT's translate document to generate the Indonesian text. And then we converted the text to TXT files. Next, we used LF Aligner to create parallel spreadsheets tables. And then we employed AntConc for word frequency analysis and NPConc for parallel text analysis. So here are the results. The first one is word level equivalence problems. Word level equivalence problems refers to accurately expressing the meaning of words from the source language to the target language. For example, here we have the word idea, and idea is translated into ide by Google Translate, and it shows that GT applies the loan words to the translation. Here, post-editing proposes to use paraphrase strategy to translate the word ide into gagasan. Another word is interconnectedness. It is translated by Google Translate into keterhubungan. However, keterhubungan has less neutral meaning. Therefore, the post-editing suggests using the word keterkaitan to create more natural sound in the target language. The second one is above word level equivalence problems. Non-equivalence above word level refers to a situation where entire phrases, expressions, or idioms on the source language do not have a direct equivalence in the target language. So GT translated the clause meet the universalist principles of justice into memenuhi prinsip keadilan universalis, and then the post-editing suggests to translate the clause into sesuai dengan asas-asas keadilan secara menyeluruh. The third one is grammatical level equivalence problems. According to Baker in 2018, Baker states that one of the major categories of grammatical level is the use of singular and plural. For example, the word writings is translated by the Google Translate into singular form, and then the post-editing suggests to translate it into plural form, so it becomes beberapa karya tulis and not just tulisan. The fourth one is textual level equivalence problems. The literal translation here, for example, given by the GT or Google Translate of Haman stays is Haman menatap. And it is then post-edited into Haman melamun by the human translators. And then the last one is pragmatic level equivalence problems. GT, for example here, GT merely translates them in Haman was one of them into nya or salah satunya. Meanwhile, the post-editing suggests to describe them into puluhan pengungsi dari Syria, so it becomes more clear. Okay, so next is the top 3 word class analysis. The top 3 of noun occurrences in the text of international relations theory are theory, which occurred 21 times, and then global, which appeared 13 times, and the relations 13 times. Theory is translated into teori itu, global is translated into global, and relation is translated into hubungan. The next one is the top 3 of adjectives found in the text. They are critical, it occurred 23 times, and then global 12 times, and cosmopolitan 8 times. Having investigated the equivalence problems by using NPCon, it shows that the word critical, global, and cosmopolitan do not need to be post-edited by the translator or the human translators, since GT or Google Translate uses loan words to translate them, these words. The third one is the top 3 word list of adverbs found. They are therefore 7 times, namely 2 times, and then especially 1 time. Therefore is translated into karena itu, namely is translated into yaitu, and then especially is translated into terutama. The next one is verb. The top 3 verbs found are is, are, and also has. Here are the discussion. So the word level equivalence, it shows that Google Translate struggles with the loan words and also the semantic mismatches such as ide versus gagasan, and then keterhubungan versus keterkaitan. It confirms the Al-Kathiri in 2023 that states that Google Translate often misrepresents technical or abstract terms due to limited contextual awareness. And the second one is above word level. GT fails to handle idiomatic expression and collocations. For example, connected glue, it is translated by the GT into perekat hubungan, and it sounds very literal and a little awkward. While the post-editing suggests to translate it into hubungan erat. For the grammatical level, it has some issues with pluralization and also passive-active voices. For example, English passive translated into Indonesian active, and the shifting emphasis. And then the fourth one is textual level. Google Translate lacks text cohesion, so it is more unnatural sentence flow and ordering. And the last one is pragmatic level. GT fails to convey implicatures and cultural references. So for the conclusion, summary of the findings, Google Translate performs well with high frequency nouns, adjective, and adverbs, but it struggles with the verbs and complex syntax across all equivalence levels. So the key issues here are word lexical mismatches, loan words for the above word, idiomatic and collocational challenges for the grammatical, number and voice errors, and for the textual, cohesion and coherent gaps, lastly for the pragmatic, failure to convey implied meanings. The PEMT role here is essential for improving translation quality and training translators in AI-assisted environments. For the educational impact, PEMT training fosters linguistic sensitivity and digital literacy, preparing translators for modern practices, and the contribution reinforces the indispensable role of human translators in refining MT outputs for precision and cultural appropriateness in non-literary texts. So that's all from us. Thank you so much for paying attention. See you next time.